All right, looks like everything's good to go. So, doesn't look like anybody's jumped in just yet. And if everybody does, that's cool. Normally, the chat doesn't really start picking up until about 4 or 5 minutes in, anyway. So, subject of discussion is, can two screen gaming be good for 10th generation? And in my mind, yeah, it's something that would be very good for gaming going forward instead of spending more money on graphics and things that don't really enhance gameplay in any way, shape, or form. I think that that would be a good direction to go. Only thing is, I don't think it can be a requirement to make games play with two screens, but it can be something included with the consoles. Only problem with that is that sometimes means that the idea doesn't get used. But viably, it's good for a lot of different things. Multiplayer, especially, is something that having two screens locally for your console would be great for. It also depends on the implementation of the two screens. Like the example I tossed out maybe a week or so back, where you would hook up either two televisions or two monitors. That would be a good way for somebody to say, let's take Madden for example. If you have two people playing locally playing Madden, and you have two televisions hooked into your console through HDMI, maybe the visual quality isn't going to be the best, but it's not like everybody needs 4K to have a good picture. You could do this feasibly with a display with your console displaying at 1080p for two screens separately, and then having it go ahead and be available for everybody to use that. Like, it would be cool to be able to play Madden from your side of the field consistently against somebody else. Like, whether you're on offense or defense, the camera is behind you, and then the other player has the camera behind them. You could do that with two separate televisions. For example, you could just put your game console on the table, have the two televisions back to back, and have one person with one controller, the other person with the other controller. You can still play against with each other and with each other, but without you seeing their play call and them seeing your play call. I mean, similar to the idea of having something like the Wii U gamepad have the play calls and stuff be down at the bottom and not on your screen, which was also a concept that Nintendo was trying to work with, but they never really fully got there. Hey, yo, Sandstorm. So the idea I think is feasible. Is not like the consoles nowadays can't do it. Everything at this point that's on the market could definitely do it, and it's just a matter of the implementation. Now, I'm not saying it has to be. Again, I'm not saying it has to be something that's forced, because obviously there are some games that's just not going to make sense for to have dual screen. But then again, having the option to have it would be nice. And if I have two monitors on my computer, I should be able to use both monitors for my game if I want to. That should be an option. And I don't think that that's a bad idea for consoles going forward. It's not like we don't have examples of it being workable. It just comes down to whether or not people want to spend the money on making it happen. And I think that's the biggest hurdle is, do they want to spend the money on having it happen? But if they're willing to spend money on just improving graphics or using game engines to make their games look better or try to look more realistic, why not use that same money to implement better gameplay ideas? And gaming with at least two screens, you could do something like that. So that's where again, it just comes down to the implementation, because Sony could definitely do it with their next platform if they make the PS Portal part of the process from the beginning and not an afterthought. Like, that's where Sony tends to fail with stuff like this, is when they implement it as an idea afterwards, and it's not fully connected to the process of whatever their development is. Because honestly, I should be able to take a PS5 and a PS Portal and have two people playing on different playing the same game from different perspectives. It should work as a split screen option for the PS5. I can see cord attachments to the system almost like controller cords connect with the game, allowing each person to use their own screen and use the TV almost as a spectator screen. That's also an option. That's also an option. It just again it comes down to how it's implemented. It it really comes down to how it's implemented. Because yeah, for Madden you could see somebody you could technically with Madden have one television set up for spectator and another television set up for the game itself also. Or since we have wireless HDMI, have a splitter that allows you to connect the two televisions and one can be in one room and one can be in the other room. Why wouldn't that be an option where I could have the wireless HDMI go to a different TV that's just in a different room? So I don't have to move my console around if I don't want to, but I can still go play my game in a different place. Again, it just comes down to what's being done with it. So like take Monster Hunter for instance. If I go ahead and I want to play Monster Hunter on one screen, but I'm in the living room and the living room ends up being needed to be used for something, and my bedroom isn't that far, I go to my bedroom, turn on my TV, and just continue my game there without moving a thing. That's almost very close. That's very close implementation to utilizing the Switch and having multiple docks. Where you just pull it out of one dock and take it over to the other. Very close to that idea. It again just comes down to what they're willing to do with it. I think for the console to have the option itself by default to have multiple screens would be great. And it's not like Sony didn't flirt with the idea with the PS3, they just couldn't implement it at the time. Now would be a good time to go back to trying to do it. Now, there was, when I made the poll on Twitter, there was one comment that was against the idea. The poll, I think, let me see if I can get to it. Yeah, the final results were 16 votes. 68.8% of people said that they would love to see dual screen gaming come back for 10th gen, and 31.3% said no. There was only one comment that was on there that explained why they thought it wouldn't be a good idea, and it was valid. It was definitely a valid comment. So this is by Cirrus. I want to say I said it's Cirrus. Hopefully, I'm not saying it wrong because I'm pretty sure I've done a reaction to this person before. So, as much as I adore my 3DS and Wii U, dual screen gaming adds a ton of dev time to already bloated projects, especially when considered cross platform games. On top of that, PC ports become unwieldy to manage. I like dual screen gaming. I do not want it to be standard. And like I said, that was a valid criticism to think about. That was definitely a smart thing to think about and consider. Oh, that does sound like you used to have a setup like that where you just ran the cable from where your console was located to a second TV. See, but doing it wirelessly means you ain't got to worry about people potentially messing your cords up, or at least having one of them be wireless. Because we do have wireless HDMI setups. It's basically just using a Wi-Fi signal that's specific to the HDMI box and the receiver. now you just now you just flexing on people. Hey, what's up, J Biggs? And hey, Nep. I mean, yeah, it would be considered weird, but it's not like the idea hasn't been one, done before. Two, it can open up tons of ways to play games. Hell, you could take something as simple as Battleship from the family game night that Ubisoft put out with I want to say Hasbro, the Hasbro games. What are we talking about, J Biggs? This help you right here. This help you right here. Yeah, talking about having potentially two screens for consoles for 10th generation. Um, but getting back to what I was saying, you could take something as simple as Battleship, which was on the Hasbro Game Night collection that Ubisoft had put out, and you could, again, like the example I said for Madden, have both screens back to back, one person on one side setting up their stuff for their field for Battleship, the other person on the other side. It's hard for you to multitask since you hyper focus the game. I kind of do the same thing, but it's more so you having the knowledge of what you're getting into. Now I can see if you started up your game and it was single screen from jump and then just turned into dual screen, I could see where that could be a problem. But if you already know going into it, it's easy to manage it once you already know what's going to happen with it. So that that in and of itself, the problem fixes itself once you know what you're going to do. Or at least for me, I should say at least for me, that's how it works. Because in all honesty, playing on the Wii U should have been super difficult for me. But when I played stuff like Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut on the Wii U, and I would get to the points where you're checking through different documents and the little document pop up on your screen, it was fun for me because then I could do whatever I was doing on the screen, and I also had awareness of the stuff that was going on the other screen, like enemies and stuff moving around when you're doing certain missions, and being able to use the camera to look around at the top, like you would if you were an actual spy or something in person, where you're looking down at your paper, you looking up, looking around, back and forth. I guess it comes down to how you imagine yourself in the scenario. Because if you're just thinking of the screens just being super far apart and you have no way of being able to get them both within your view, I could see where that could be complicated. But it also has, yeah, that game, I can't touch it anywhere else. I can't touch that game anywhere else at all. Oh, hold on one second. Okay, sorry. Kids getting into stuff, and then my computer was having some technical issues. So you guys can all still hear me, right? Let me make sure. Okay, never. My audio is going through fine. So where was I at? I think it was just talking about Deus Ex Human Revolution, um, and dual screen gaming. But I keep saying I'm going to keep repeating that phrase. It depends on the application and how it's set up and what you're doing with it. Um, because you could set up different things. Like you could have a game, sort of like what was it, the Mario Chase game from Nintendo Land, where you had Mario with the whoever was playing with the Mario character had the gamepad and they were running around. And then you have four other people on the television screen chasing Mario, but you couldn't see where Mario was. But Mario had a way to be able to see what everybody else was doing, which would be pretty cool to do. Um, or you could have setups of teams. Like imagine Splatoon just using two screens but eight controllers, where you have your team on one screen and the other team on another, or maybe an FPS or online like the first Descendant, being able to have two accounts logged into the same device that both are on the game, but you're playing with two separate characters on two different screens. So you can still have your single screen games and stuff like that. It's not like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze didn't come out on the Wii U. And that game only uses one screen at a time. So I'm not saying do away with the idea of being able to make games that are one screen. It's just the idea of implementing or being able to implement two screens for your console, whether it be utilizing two HDMI ports or having something like a PlayStation Portal available, or even the idea that I had for the Switch successor, where you have the machine basically still be a Switch or more advanced Switch, but doing the reverse of what the Wii U did, where it transfers the information to the dock, and then the dock just puts everything on screen automatically. Oh, hold up. I, we have a new challenger, and I'm about to bring him up.
I have no idea what we're doing. What we're doing.
Talking about implementations of dual screen if it were to be used for 10th gen.
Oh, you mean the thing that they didn't like gen ago?
The thing that everybody said that they didn't like, but they keep saying that they missed the console that did it.
Oh, and they keep begging for the games?
Yeah.
Specifically for Monolith Soft?
I mean, this is the only way you're getting that game back. Only the only way.
Oh, I mean, and my other favorite, Star Fox Zero is impossible to play.
Yet people will pay for a $700 device to play that game. I ain't gonna say nothing more about that. But Triple M, you ain't late. It's we only roughly 20 minutes in.
Okay, so the short of it, I would love to see it come back because I feel like people now, especially since the company that did that knows how to control the narrative now, it won't be as big of an issue. It won't be as much backlash because a couple of the companies or the places that did most of the backlash, they don't exist no more.
That's true.
So
like game failures.
Yep. Rev, what is it? Rev 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rev 3 exists not at all anymore. Game Trailers just does trailers.
Yeah, literally. That's it. They don't do jack else.
They just do trailers.
And even some of the companies that, first they loved it in 2011, then mysteriously in 2012 they hated it. They ain't the same as they used to be. So I think now is probably a better time to try to do it. But then again, I don't know. I mean, I love the idea of asynchronous gaming.
Mm-hmm.
I also, well, and you know this, I also love the fact that my HUD was clear.
Yeah. And it comes down because I'm not just talking about just doing it the way Wii U does
Yeah,
it. I'm talking about like
it would have to evolve. It would have to
yeah,
evolve.
you would have to have the option to be able to plug in multiple HDMI's to your console.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Xbox almost did that with Xbox One. They
Yeah.
gave you an input and an output.
Boy,
They
did that
didn't think
not
about
last.
doing two outputs.
No,
And it's not like Sony didn't want to do it with the PS3. Now is the perfect time for them to try to do it with the next platform.
no, you don't want them to do it because then you have to pay for the headphones.
I'm just talking about having the two HDMI ports. I'm not talking about
You'd
nothing
have to
else.
pay. You'd have to pay for that. You'd have to pay for the adapter. You'd have to pay for the other
Boy,
HDMI on top of the on top of the actual console. You got to pay for the other HDMI. Nah, because it'd
but,
be a Sony branded HDMI.
well, then that would just mean they lose money.
Am I lying? Chat, am I lying?
Again, they that's on them. They just lose money. They would definitely lose money on that. Yeah, you know what, Sandstorm? I agree with you on that one. I think that Mario Kart missed an opportunity to have that second screen allowing you to look behind you by default. Because I would definitely have been using that. I've been looking at the main screen and look down, see who behind me, pitch back real quick, and keep going.
So
Oh,
are you saying Double Dash?
Double Dash would be fun. Actually, Double Dash could get brought back like that for Nintendo.
Yep.
They could definitely get brought back like that for Nintendo because then you'd have two different viewpoints, and you could have the person on the back looking around while the person that's driving is just focusing on driving and hit whatever's in front.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, that's a good way to bring back a Double Dash for Mario Kart. Make it a specific mode for that. That'd be
Yep.
amazing. Or like I said for Madden, if they two separate TVs or monitors, having them back to back with each other and playing off one console, and you have your side of the field that you're always able to view, and the other person always views their side of the field, or even two team setups, four for one screen, four for the other. It just comes down to how it gets used, and it's the consoles now are far more than capable to do it. They are far more than capable to do it. It's just it wasn't implemented. It wasn't a thought or an idea for it.
Yeah, that's true.
And going forward, is Sony if Sony were smart, if they're smart, they could use the PlayStation Portal and make it directly connect to the next machine and be able to use it as outside of off TV play as a second screen for simultaneous play. But that's on them. That's definitely on them to attempt to do that. Hey, Dark Void, look, everybody talk about sorry. Stop worrying about being late. Just come in and enjoying the conversation. Jump in and run your mouth just like me. Like
But
I could see how it would work. Like I threw out the example of what the Ubisoft did, the Hasbro game stuff, the family game night stuff. So if you play a battleship against someone and you play locally, you literally have to wait for the other person to take their turn to, like when you're setting up the game, if you basically gotta go with the honor system, one person looks away while the other person sets up their board, and you can't look at your board like to make sure you know where your ships are while you're playing. Man, having two TVs or two monitors to separate that makes that game feel actually like actual battleship.
okay,
So,
I can see that.
or how wild the game of Monopoly would be. You got four people on one screen and another four on another screen, and y'all talking trash back and forth. It just depends on what they do with it. You could implement this for so many things.
Yeah, but yeah.
Dark Void. Don't make me turn into Liam Neeson on you. Don't make me turn into Liam Neeson on you.
Full of CDI.
Like that thing is nightmares. That thing is full of nightmares.
Especially two games that out of my favorite doggone series of all time that gave me nightmares.
Mm, I'm
Funnily
glad
enough, Nintendo decided to make a Zelda game using the freaking
they took the,
gambling.
they took the concept.
Yeah. Like,
They said the concept wasn't the problem.
no, you know what they were doing? Y'all want to have some fun? Let's troll some people.
Nah, let them do Hotel Mario. Let them remake Hotel Mario.
I'm surprised. They haven't done it yet. Honestly, I'm surprised they haven't.
I think that Luigi's Mansion was intended to be that, but
Yeah,
then they changed.
and gave it to Luigi so he'd have an actual game because God knows they hadn't put him in hardly anything else.
Yeah, but I'm just I'm fascinated about the idea because I think if everybody implemented it, again, making it optional to use, but if everyone had it, it would get used more.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Um, is if people had it because that's the same thing we say about motion control
Yeah,
gyro.
Microsoft still needs gyro.
Yeah, if you had gyro, if you put it in there, then everybody would use it. They know that.
But Sony and Nintendo got it, and you
Yeah.
can do it on PC. Microsoft consoles are the only ones missing out.
Yep. But then again, they also the only ones that still want you to put batteries in their stuff unless you buy the Elite. But somehow they're not backward. Whatever.
That's a discussion for another day.
Yep. Yep.
But look, just like if I were, because a lot of people have multiple monitor setups for PC.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, not the majority, but a good deal. And if you make a game that says, okay, like the game The Medium that came out for Xbox and PC, that game deserved to be able to use two separate screens. It deserved to be able to use two separate screens. But the way they had it set up, you have the game splitting the screen down the middle and it's still running two different environments at the same time. So why not be able to put one on one screen and another on the other screen? You're still looking at the exact same things. You just have more viewable area at that point.
True.
All right. For MMOs, this would be perfect for survival games and zombie games. Bring back Zombie U and use it as an inventory with no pause. Oh yeah, just like the Wii U did. Yes,
just don't
definitely.
let Greg Miller play it.
No, not at all. Or oh yeah, with MMOs, have two people on separate accounts, each one on a different screen, being able to play at the same time.
Yeah.
From the same console.
Bring back Nintendo Land, please.
I mean, I think Nintendo might be doing that anyway, but that's a whole separate beast.
Yeah.
Because probably for their next platform, they might be doing it.
They just need to change up some of the attractions, so
Yeah.
to speak, because some of them didn't make no damn sense.
See, you bring up an interesting thing there, Sam Storm, because I remember when somebody suggesting to Bethesda to put Fallout on the Wii U because of how it could work for the Pip-Boy, and at the time, if I remember, Todd Howard laughed at the idea.
He did.
And then went and made a Pip-Boy to do the exact thing that people talked about.
Yeah, I remember that. Because the person asked wasn't laughing. He was like, "I'm serious."
Or was it Metal Gear Solid? Was it Ground Zeroes? Or was it no? It was Phantom Pain, and they had to make a separate app to do what the Wii U did with a second screen automatically.
Yeah,
just to have a map set up for the game. It was like, or for you to do airstrikes.
Like people knew what it was. That's why I always thought it was funny that when you got all that hate, because I'm like, you got Smart Glass trying to do it, you got people setting up apps to try to do it. I'm like, bro, but you claim that nothing can handle it. I'm like, come on, dude. Y'all know that's a bunch of BS.
I mean, it makes more sense to use a console that natively does it than to have to use everything over the internet.
Yep.
It just makes more sense that way. But yeah, I would have definitely loved that for Elder Scrolls, especially for Skyrim and Oblivion. Put them, you could look at your scrolls on one screen and then have your action going on the other, or look at your map on one screen. Like you could do redo the Resident Evil remakes and just throw your map up on one screen and do everything else. Do your normal play stuff on your main screen. Like whenever you unlock your map, it pops up on the other screen.
I mean, the best what was it? Splinter Cell game was on Wii U.
Yeah. I would love them to do that again.
And although I did not play Deus Ex, I heard nothing but good things about
it. It's outside of it being a little bit slower frame rate wise, which could have easily been fixed, as Square Enix themselves even admitted. The game was good, especially like you would get your like if you were looking at the documents, like any of the documents on the computers, it will pop up on the gamepad screen, and you still had your main screen where you could look around and things were still happening. So you could literally look around like you were looking down at your paper and looking up like you're trying to look around for stuff. Because it didn't stop the action when you were looking at documents. It just popped up on the screen. You did your scrolling with either the I want to say the right analog or your stylus on the screen. And whenever you closed it, then you go back to normal play. But everything would still be in motion. Because I got caught a couple times playing that, looking at a document and not paying attention to the main screen and got gunned down, which made me end up paying more attention to both things happening at the same time.
Yeah. And plus, you won't have to hit pause every time you need to do something on adventure games. Jeez.
Yeah. So if the second screen is touch, you could change your levels of power efficiency, ship speed, weapons, power shield. F-Zero was open galaxy. You could shift the power to the lower screen. That's true. That is true.
Come on, Sandstorm. You know people don't really want F-Zero.
That's true.
You know they don't. You know they don't really want F-Zero. You know that.
The majority of people don't want it because they don't know about it. For real.
We'll get a whole other David Jaffe situation.
I mean, but F-Zero 99 is a little bit inspiring though, because more and more people are playing that now since the last time I checked it out. So maybe people might, but F-Zero X.
No, that's what I'm saying. Bring the GameCube NSO online and put F-Zero on there and see how many.
F-Zero GX.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Oh, he meant Star Fox. Oh. Same difference.
Yeah,
same difference.
Yeah. Same difference. I mean,
Trinell, I always thought the next evolution of dual screen was your regular screen is the handheld, like the Switch, and the second screen would be a projector. That's the idea I presented for the next Switch. The Switch successor, where the main body and everything is in the tablet / handheld, and it beams to the dock, and the dock shows everything on your screen.
I don't know how I feel about that.
It's just reversing the process the Wii U does.
I'd have to see it though. I have to see it to see how that works.
Doing it that way though means you could connect more units to the dock and project to the screen from the dock.
Okay.
The Wii U way is you can only project outwardly to one or two devices.
Yeah.
So it depends on setup, but right now the technology is far enough along; it's doable. All
I know is I just want Miiverse back.
Oh yeah, I want that back too.
Yeah, that's all I really want.
I'm trying to consider if you don't have a touch screen, you're just using monitors, or you do have something that is a separate screen also. Because if we're being for real, somebody's doing two monitors, they're not likely to have a second monitor be a touchscreen.
Yeah.
And even if they do, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work with a console that way.
That's true.
So, like, that is something to take into consideration. Actually, I think about it. I want to get a second another a touchscreen monitor is a separate one. That's me personally for my computer. But either way, there are options to use it. Is the problem? The biggest problem is going to be getting companies to say, "Oh, well, this is something cool I can do with my game, and it'll be interesting, and it could differentiate me from everyone else." What if what if the projected screen is a touch screen? You talking about like those watches where it projects onto your skin and then you can touch it and use it that way?
Oh,
That might cause some problems though,
yeah,
because if somebody gets in between the signal of that, it's going to mess everything you do up.
yeah. I don't think you want to do that if you got like nieces, nephews, or kids running around.
Yeah, if somebody walks in between the projection and that screen, you are screwed.
Yeah,
All your stuff's gonna get discombobulated within 5 seconds. I mean, the idea is cool, but in practice, it can't really be done yet. Because that would, I know I'd be mad.
yeah.
Forgot, I told you to sit down.
Sit down. Back up from the TV. Back up. Just be mad for no reason.
Trinell, we ain't that far along technologically yet. That's why I said right now we can't implement it. Like maybe in 5-10 years we could do it, but right now, no.
To be fair,
It would go horrible.
we like 5 years back from. Well, actually, we was 2024. We 9 years from when we were supposed to have hoverboards, power laces, and jackets that easily slicked up. So I kind of feel like the '80s lied to me as far as what I'm supposed to be getting from the future. So yeah, we might be a little bit behind. Looks like Andre had to leave for a quick second. So Minority Report. I don't know how I feel about a projector though. That's the only thing. Or projection, as it were. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it probably could work. Like, yes, Trinell, the cake is a lie. It is, but it was nice to dream. I'll put it like that. It was real nice to always dream because that's one thing you can't deny about the '80s. They did leave a lot of imagination there for what stuff should have been going on. I'm still mad that I don't have my hoverboard yet from Mattel, by the way. Even though I don't know if I would actually trust a hoverboard from Mattel. Would y'all trust a hoverboard from Mattel? I don't think I'd trust a hoverboard from Mattel. I just don't think I would. uh, yeah, battery life. Battery life would be a problem as far as that and the lamp. If the lamp is, because that's the other thing.
That would be hot.
Yeah.
And potentially burn out very fast.
Yep.
And yes, but you want to know something funny? I just had to chase down a child that got chocolate frosting on their hands. My daughter had chocolate frosting on her hands just to see the cake is alive. It's funny timing for me.
That's actually hilarious. Yes, that is very hilarious. Actually,
the Jetsons was wrong.
No, the Family Guy version of the Jetsons is wrong. If you know, you know.
I ain't going to go down there. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the original Jetsons.
I'm just saying. The Family Guy version of the Jetsons was way worse.
Way worse. Obscenely worse.
Obscenely worse. Like, bro, you can't do that, bro. And they did not care. And I thought it was hilarious at the time. So there's that. There is that. I thought it was hilarious. It should not have been hilarious, but yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
I mean, that's always going to be the thing, though. only thing I wish that these companies would take the chance on doing something different from what they've done. I mean, with
Uh,
Nintendo, it won't be too different because they already done it before.
you're asking too much, man.
But they wonder why people are getting fatigued for certain things because everything is almost the same.
Yeah, but man, you're asking for too much. Why you asking for too much, man? Just take Unreal Engine 5 and be happy.
I could be happy if Unreal Engine 5 was used on more than what it's used on.
Oh, we can't do that. That'll go against everything Jeff Keighley taught us.
I mean, look, I ain't listening to him for nothing.
I mean,
Especially not after his loving pose with Kojima.
okay, I got to stop. I got to stop laughing at that because it's just hilarious to me. I'm sorry, man, because that dude be looking so uncomfortable.
The way his leg was turned in that picture, like he was about to sprint the moment that picture was taken.
Like, I was like, bro, you do realize this man, you are scaring the hell out of this man. You do realize that, right?
Well, and if he is friendly with him, you can barely tell.
Yeah.
You can barely tell. So
it's just funny at this point. I'm like, bro, this is just hilarious. This is like one-sided for real.
It is. It's very one-sided.
So one-sided. So yeah, I need to stop laughing at that. I just find it too funny.
Yeah, Trinell, yep. Agreed. 100% agreed. It helped with everything.
Well,
It helped.
That's why I hated that when it was getting flack, when the Wii U was getting flack, and I'm like, are y'all playing this? And then you realize nobody was. They were just regurgitating what they heard. I'm like, dude, did you even try it? And then, like I said, the whole thing with Star Fox, just like, okay, y'all are lame. Because at the time, my nephew was like 5. Like, he's having a time of his life. He figured that mess out after the first level. He's having time. Like, you mean to tell me a grown man, 30 years old, can't damn figure out how to play this game? Come on, man.
They couldn't do it on the easiest setting.
So yeah, that's when I was like, all right, y'all lame at that point. At that point, that's all I can say.
You ain't gonna know.
So that was just, to me, I mean, that was the killer to me anyway.
That's going to be the killer for everybody. But on the positive side is if we get more people making games like affordable space adventures.
Yeah.
Where they just go gung ho and just embrace the concept 100%. That would be amazing. Or like maybe when Yacht Club decides to do a Shovel Knight 2, like a full on Shovel Knight 2, you could have 2 players but split screen where you're both on separate. Maybe you join the level together, but you can actually separate from each other and not be stuck to 2 people on one screen and have to wait for the other person to catch up to even do anything.
Yeah.
Where you can just move on your own independently of each other. Or even take a game like Cuphead and throw that idea on it.
Are you trying to say Cuphead should be
I'm saying anything that's like Cuphead or Contra or Blazing Chrome, if you have 2 characters that are separated from each other where they have their own camera focus on them, you don't necessarily have to wait for the other player to move the screen. So an experienced player isn't hobbled by a less experienced player, but also the screen positioning doesn't disallow you from being able to avoid things that could hurt you.
Okay. Good point.
Or having the available idea of 2 screens and just playing on one screen at a time, as I think I said earlier on, and somebody else said that they had done a setup like that with an extension cable or something like that for HDMI. And since we have wireless HDMI now, having one plugged into your TV in the living room and having one plugged into your TV in the bedroom, so you don't have to move your console. You can just leave your living room, go to the other room, if it's necessary, or vice versa. Like if you married and you playing your game in your bedroom, but your wife wants to go to sleep and she don't want to hear the explosions and sound effects of the game, you hop yourself out and go into your living room and just play in your living room without moving all your equipment.
True.
So again, it comes down to how it gets used. Everybody's thinking of just the one thing. Oh, well, if it's got to be dual screen or it's got to be able to do dual screen, then it can only be used to have dual screen for games, which isn't the case. You can still have your single screen games, and you can just be able to use it back and forth.
Because there's a lot of games on the Wii U that didn't use the other screen. Like you just chose which one you wanted to use. Like if you wanted to sit in the bed and just use your tablet, you could, or if you wanted to play on the TV, you could. Like you didn't have to. There's a lot of games like that didn't have to have that. So there is that,
which is cool.
Yeah.
Or Mass Effect 3 being the only version of Mass Effect that had a radar/map that was constant because you had it on the gamepad. Yep. They could literally do that with a dual monitor setup for a computer, but they haven't implemented it for a Mass Effect Legendary Edition. That would have been a nice add. They ain't think about it.
That really would have, but do you really think they would have did that?
I think the developers would have done it. I don't think EA would have allowed them to do it.
No. I just find it hard to believe that they would let them do anything, to be honest.
I partially agree with that, Trinell. I partially agree with that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Translated to don't try anything new. Because okay. Why?
Good point.
I agree with that. If somebody wants to fight me on having options be a good thing, they would lose that battle. They would lose that battle completely. Because I like to be able to have options for how I play my games. I like to have different choices as to way I can handle a game and go through it. But everybody focuses on the options the wrong way. It's like, oh, you don't want to have options to play your game in different places? No, but I do want to have options to play my games different ways. I mean, that would be nice.
Like, who wouldn't want that, though? Well, I need to preface that because I already know a lot of people who would. I mean,
if you don't want to use the option, that's cool. You don't have to, but I would like to. I would like to be able to have the option to throw on a portable monitor and plug it into my system and use it as a second screen if I really wanted to.
I mean, to me that sounds like it would be a great idea, but you know,
everybody likes to run from common sense and logic.
True.
That's why I'm thinking for 10th generation, if every console maker came out the gate with the ability to use more than one screen for your console, at the bare minimum being able to use two. If they came out the gate being able to use two screens for each platform, we would see games go a much better direction. Because either way, even if we go with the idea that games are going to be taking longer to make, it's going to cost more money to make them, I would rather that money go to ideas that improve how games are made versus just making them look better and spending more time trying to eke out the finer details of somebody's pores on their face for several hundred extra pixels of memory. I'd rather that information go I'd rather that development go to, oh, hey, you have a second screen set up? Well, with that, we can put your map over here so that you can see what's going on there. Or we have this, along with your map, all of your files will be there. So while you're still playing on your main screen, if you need to reference anything, you can look right here and you can see what's going on. or your mission list can be over here, or your HUD can be over there, so your main screen can be clean. All of that stuff would be great.
You know, you're making common sense, right?
Yeah, yes, I'm using logic, reasoning, and understanding.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
It don't ever seem to work. It
No,
just don't
it
ever seem to work.
never does.
People don't like that. They don't like you when you talk sense to them.
Nah.
Like, what are you saying? You can't talk sense to me. No,
Nope.
you can't tell me that this is a good thing and it be a good thing and I'd be happy about that.
Like, why would I be happy about that? Like, why? On what planet did you think I was going to be happy about that?
I mean, look, I would love to be able to play an NHL game with my friend and we on separate teams, and I can see my side of the court, or I'm always able to focus on where he's going or where the puck is going, and he's always able to focus on where I'm going and the puck on my end is going. So
I don't see. Trudell brings up a good point because I do miss the speaker and the controller.
Oh, I miss that too. I definitely think that that's something that everybody should have for 10th gen also.
The first No More Heroes will always be special to me for that.
For you picking up the phone.
You got the phone actually holding it like a phone. Like that will always be because like, dude, it was just it was different. And then nobody's ever did it again, which makes no sense.
It don't at all.
Like, you can't tell me Suda 5-1 was the only person to think of that. I'm sorry.
Well, no, he wasn't, because the game Calling on the Wii did that too. And also Silent Hill Shattered Memories did that too. Both of those also had phones in them for different reasons, but they would have the characters speak to you through the phone.
Through the phone, yeah.
Through with the Wii remote. So, I mean, he wasn't the only one to do. He was probably the first one.
I think he was the first.
He wasn't the only one.
Because I think when did No More Heroes came out, the first one came out right after Red Steel, the first Red Steel. So that was what?
Yeah, 06, it came out
07?
I want to say it's either late 06 or early 07.
Yeah. Because 2 didn't come out till 2010.
Yeah, there was a gap between the first ones. But they need to do something different than just making everything look better.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Yeah, but they did it from like a texting standpoint for the texting on the gamepad.
Which is also cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
But they could have also done the voice thing, because you can either they did have the speaker, and you could also have put in a headset. For a lot of people don't realize it. 3D audio.
Yeah, you could listen to the thing from the audio jack. I remember that. Yeah, because I did it by accident. I'm gonna need Nintendo in all their future stuff to tell us what all our stuff do. I'm tired of being surprised. Like just tell me.
Figure it out later.
Yeah, like tell me, like I didn't know you could use the GameCube controller with like Mario Kart and like it's like 3 other games. Like, dude, why didn't y'all tell me I could do that? Because I was seeing it, I'm like, man, you lying. You can't use a damn Switch, the GameCube controller with Mario Kart. Yeah, you can. Like, why y'all ain't tell nobody? Like, just tell people. Like,
didn't even list it. Ain't
listed. Like the I think the only one do they even list it for Smash? I don't think they listed for Smash.
I think they did for Smash, but that was the only one.
Yeah, but you can use that GameCube controller on multiple games. They just won't tell you. And I'm like, I'm gonna need y'all from going forward to just please, for some reason, just tell us what we can do, please. I don't want to have to like be surprised or be calling people liar and then find out I'm the liar.
Well, I mean, it's not a lie if you're incorrect. Because a lie means you knew.
Yeah.
you knew it. And
Good
did
point.
that.
Good point.
You were incorrect because you didn't know, and then found out later.
Yeah.
But okay, here's a good game to use for this example: Jet Set Radio, which is going to be getting getting redone.
Oh yeah, it is right.
It wouldn't be cool to y'all to have two separate big screens to be able to play together and to be tagging stuff. If you're local, people don't think about that because that I'd be all for that. Or playing Streets of Rage on two separate screens so that you're not both screen locked to the same position.
Yeah,
That would be something. So that would be vastly different from beat 'em ups. Being able to move around like that. So people got to stop being afraid to try new things and be interested in seeing how it could go. And yes, you are correct. Drawing games with touchscreen, like Miiverse showed that a lot of people could do a lot with just that one little stylus. Imagine a console that's actually got more horsepower behind it that would be similar. The number of things you could do would probably be very wild. So
yeah, that's true.
I'm all about gameplay implementation or how it's used. Or if you wanted to be one of the eccentric lazy people having a TV up above you as you lay back on your bed and having one in front of you. So you could be playing your game and then you just figure out I want to lay back, look up without having to move nothing.
That's true.
Well, they gotta have fun with the concept. That's the bigger problem. They don't have fun with the concept.
I mean, it's interesting. It is an interesting concept. So
Yeah. I think honestly companies are just scared to do it.
well, they saw what happened when Nintendo tried to do it, and then they got blasted for it. Because, like I said, the Xbox tried to do it with Smart Glass, and I'm like, okay, y'all clearly didn't think of this. Y'all just trying to slap something together real quick. So I think that's what it is. But the other problem to that too is if they came up with it and actually said, okay, look, developers, you have to use this instead of having something and then letting them not use it like Sony does and Microsoft does all the time. Like they'll have something and then they
don't get it implemented.
They don't get it implemented because they don't let them. They like, look, man, you ain't got to use it if you don't want to. We just got it here. Like, nah, dude, use it.
No, I think honestly for any new console within the first 2 years, more games need to implement the features of the console within the first 2 years. After that, you could be a little bit more lax on it, but within the first 2 years, the games really do need to utilize the features of it.
Because that's your whole purpose for buying it.
Yeah.
Well, it should be. It should be because, reasons.
But Trinell, I agree with you there. Being able, but now with the technology, the games wouldn't look bad.
The Dynasty Warriors would benefit from an engine overhaul, which we know Koei Tecmo ain't gonna do. Koei Tecmo is not gonna do that.
It definitely would. It definitely
would. They gonna have Unreal Engine 5 and they engines right there.
Okay, Dark Void. You and I have both said this, but that's only really going to work for the portable consoles. Because if it's not portable in any way, shape, or form, that's probably not going to work for them. And while I agree to an extent, if all platforms have the dual screen setup and all of them say, we want you to make use of the dual screen setup, game companies ain't going to really have much of a choice.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to stay in, you're going to have to do it, basically, or just put all your stuff on PC, and then that ain't going to happen because then they'll be locking out a huge chunk. I mean, that's what happens all the time. Like there'll be something that happens. People think that just throwing it on PC is going to make is going to sell a lot. It really don't. So, I mean, there is that situation. I thought the Vita, Trinell, I think the Vita did have 4G, if I'm not mistaken. I think it did.
No, because I thought
Didn't they have
4G came out after the Vita.
I thought it was still going on when I thought Vita was there.
Oh
and
no, you're right.
still going on.
No, it was 3G. It was 3G.
It was 3G, but 4G was there too. Because
see.
remember, it closed here early, but it was still getting games in Japan. So I think there is if I'm not mistaken, there was one. I think.
Nope.
No, just 3G.
Yeah, you would have had to have put a custom chip in it to do 4G. You'd have to modify it, but it was 3G.
Then what did I read then? I must have read about that chip then.
Probably
Somebody probably modded it. Okay.
Probably, yeah, because I just saw a report that was for somebody modding theirs to have it, but it was just 3G for the ones that had it.
Either way, they that sharing thing that they had going on never worked.
I mean, I've known some people that said that did work. It worked out for them, but they were in good areas that had good.
Even still, it would take forever for it to go through. Because I remember having a PlayStation All Stars, and it was taking forever. If I had to do it, I'd have to wake up early and start it, then go take a shower, get ready to go to work, then and hopefully be done in an hour. That just took forever
just to get set up.
Yeah. And my thing was that I just buy it because I think what happened with me, I actually got tired of it and bought it on Vita.
I'll just play it that way.
Yeah, because it got to a point where it was too cumbersome to try to do that because it always took forever. Well, where I was living, it always took forever. It always took me like an hour to an hour and a half to get the game to be in a state where I could play it on the Vita. And I actually like my Vita. I still to this day say the Vita was a good system. I just wish Sony would have supported it more instead of doing what they did. I mean, I still don't. PlayStation also is probably as close as anybody's ever going to get to actually having a competitor to Smash, and they tried to make it serious, and that's where they screwed up.
That was horrible.
I'm like, why are you making this serious, man? Just make it fun. Just make it crazy. Go crazy with the ideas.
And that's all I'm suggesting. Just get some ideas together and go crazy with them.
Yeah. So
have fun with it. Do a Madden game where you're using 2 screens for your what's the name of the mode now? The mode where you're I don't even know. But when you're building up your character to be a star, there are so many reports that pop up in the game or on the screen of the game while you're going through that mode that having 2 screens would be a benefit because you could have one that could be your live ticker for the games that are happening while you're playing, or for the fantasy football buffs that want to play and do that at the same time, have your NFL/fantasy ticker on one screen while you're playing the game on the other, and have it all implemented together.
Yeah.
It just comes down to how they do it and what they do with it. You can have one screen just be a solid information feed and have the other be for actual gameplay, which actually is kind of what I do when I'm playing on PC. I'll use one screen if I'm not looking at what I'm recording or whatever. If I'm recording something, I'll have the other one screen up for information that I need that's relevant to me playing if I'm using it, or I'm recording with that screen. I don't have any games that use 2 screens on my PC, even though I know some exist.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of mad that there are not a bunch of them out that do. I think, though, it would be a good fit. If everybody did it, it would be a good fit. It would work. Can't have it be optional. It can't be completely optional. If anything, you'd have to have the company say, okay, we need at least 1 or 2 games out of you per year for the first 2 years that utilize the full totality of what the console can do. That way, I mean, because if each company does 1 to 2, that's still going to be a lot of games.
True.
You looking at thinking about indie companies cropping up, looking at the big third parties. Within 2 to 3 years, you would have around 20 to 30 so games that use dual screen for their gameplay. And they may have to do some tweaks depending on if the like what console it is, because obviously if it's Nintendo, they're probably going to have a touchscreen.
More than likely.
Yeah.
More than likely.
If for Sony, if you're going to be implementing a touchpad on your controller again, that second screen can be the screen that the touchpad represents. Because they barely ever use their touchpads.
But once again, they gotta make the developers use them though.
It's got to be there to be used.
Yeah, it can't be there just to be there. I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah, the problem is gimmick has a bad connotation now. Rather than dual screen looked upon as side grade, as a side grade or evolution in gaming is looked upon as who asked for this. And I hate that phrase too, especially from people who get mad about a game being preserved.
Yeah.
Say, who asked for this? You asked for games to be preserved, so you asked for it.
Bro, man, we're gonna have a topic about that on Sunday, man. About stuff like that, because especially dealing with subscription services, I'm like, didn't y'all ask for this? Don't complain now.
Got what you wanted.
Yeah, you got what you wanted. Don't complain now.
You got what you wanted. Now you mad about what you wanted.
I'm like, dude, like, I don't know how many times we got to tell people this. This hobby ain't cheap. It's not a cheap hobby. I mean, if you want to get into this hobby called gaming, you're going to spend some money. I don't know any other way to tell you that. Yes, there are a lot of free-to-play games, but you're going to have to spend some money. Nobody's doing this pro bono.
Even the free-to-play games, if you really want to get into the game like that, you don't spend money.
I do.
At this point.
I'm playing First Descendant. I did have to buy a battle pass. Why? Because I want to play the different seasons. I'm gonna have to. Yeah, it's free to play. It don't mean it's free. It doesn't mean it's gonna stay that way. Like
free to play, but not free to play, but not free to complete.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to do something. I mean, I don't know why people think that this is gonna be like a hobby that we could just like, oh well, they just make the game and I don't have to pay nothing for it. Like, dude, you have to pay for stuff.
At that point, if that's what people want, then they might as well be playing fan games.
Yeah.
Just play fan games and call it a day.
And some of those fan games you have to pay for. You got to pay for some of the fan games.
Eventually, yeah. Because
they can't sustain it without, because all that stuff costs. So
that's why they be setting up Patreons.
Yep.
Which is weird. Just a side tangent. If you're willing to pay a fan game developer for their game, why are you not willing to pay the people that actually own the property?
Because Nintendo is anti-consumer.
But that's not just Nintendo. That's the thing I'm realizing. That's not just Nintendo.
They're the only ones we're allowed to complain about. Everybody else got to pretend like they do that. They're the only ones we're allowed to complain about.
Oh.
See how I worked that?
Just spun it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Actually, if I could get to talk to some of these fan game developers, I would try to reach out to some of them, see if some of them would be up for trying to implement some 2-screen gameplay. I think there is one, but I got to figure out what one it was. Because I think there is one, so I'm gonna have to look that up and find it. Try to force the market in a direction. Yeah. They probably gonna say no, but it'd be funny just to ask. But you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
It's like it just got silent.
Yeah, somebody seems so weird. No,
Oh,
yours.
yeah, that always happens.
Like the hell?
At that point, I'm not worried about them. But I don't know. I think I've already talked enough about it, and I could run more potential games down in a list. But at that point, I'm just prattling off games and not really focusing on the idea at hand, and that's pretty much been covered.
Yeah.
So it's up to the industry now. Whatever they're going to do with the idea, doubt most of them would. I'm pretty sure Nintendo will. I'm unfortunately doubting the others will.
I, that's why I'm so. That's why I think it's so funny that people keep calling it the successor Switch 2. Because it'd be funny if that thing is not anything like the Switch whatsoever. It would be so funny.
It would hurt though.
It would be hilarious. It would be hilarious though.
It would be. It very well would be, but it would hurt also so much.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
I'm like, we have
knowing all the groundwork that they put into this thing, it would hurt so much for them to just switch it up again.
That's what that's what people deserve though. To be honest, to be fair, that's what people deserve. I'm like, you went out of your way. You have no sources. You keep pretending like your prediction is fact and it's not. So it would be funny as hell if the successor looks exactly like the Wii U. It would be hilarious too.
Oh, that would make me laugh.
We laugh with good healthy place. I would laugh ass off and pre-order 2 of them. I would laugh my ass off,
dude. Pre-order 2 of them and say, "Oh yeah, I'm getting that Mario when it comes out too."
Yep. I was just saying, like we literally have no idea what they're doing. None.
No, we don't.
People just are assuming it's going to be the same as what's happening now.
Only thing I could assume that's going to be the same is that they're going to, as far as everything is concerned, is that they're still going to have the same cartridges.
Yeah.
And the account system.
Yeah, because it's cheap. Well, the cartridges are cheaper. So
now they're much cheaper.
There's no point in getting because if you get like a dual layer 4K Blu-ray disc, you're spending a lot of money. So it's cheaper to just put it on the cartridge. That's why, like, you go to the store. I know people don't like this, but it's true. You go to the store, you can find you a terabyte SD card for like under $100.
Yeah, you can. And with the the extra or extended SD, one way or the other, they're making it more.
Yeah. So I mean, you can do what you need. It's just didn't need a pro. Yeah.
Nintendo didn't need a pro. Nobody needs a pro.
Nobody needs a pro. You just need to, because that's why I'm laughing about these people talking about the PS5 Pro. I'm like, they ain't even selling. I'm like, all right, y'all keep believing that. Like Sony that came out and said we trying to save money, and y'all sitting here believing they're gonna drop a okay.
Biggest problem last generation is PS4 Pro and Xbox Series X, Xbox One X didn't do anything.
No, it just up this. It just put better chips in. That's it.
They basically just boosted the stats and did nothing with it.
Yeah, that's why you don't really. That's why I kept saying, I'm like, you could put Stellar Blade on PS4. You can't. Because there's a lot of games that PS5 has that silently has a PS4 version. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink was one of them. They all the stuff said PS5, but you could get it on PS4. I have it on my PS4 because I have a PS4 Pro, so I have it. Fun game, by the way, too. It's really, really fun. But yeah, I mean, you don't really need. If they're complaining about, why this game ain't sell, I'm like, yeah, because you're missing out a large chunk of your fan base. A large chunk of your fan base is on the PS4. Still, I mean, a lot of it. First Descendant is on PS4, which we got to talk about that too. That's on PS4 and Xbox One. So a large part of your fan base is on your old system because They just are. They haven't migrated over. They haven't had a reason to.
And the funny thing is, First Descendant touts itself as the next gen.
Yeah.
I was like, it's on the previous gen though.
Yeah. On all of them. Like Xbox One, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series S and X. So, yeah. Yeah. All right.
Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap up because I don't want to drift too far off from what the focus was, and the 2-screen gaming. If I could sit down with the companies and talk to them, I mean, Capcom, y'all definitely listen to me, even though you act like you don't. But if I can sit down and talk to the companies myself, and then I hear them say, well, we can't implement that. But if you try and push 4K and potentially trying to jump to 8K, you could save that money and use it on this. Actually, it would be less money because Wii U was still the cheapest console to develop for when it was on the market, or home console to develop for.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we can go ahead and drop out of that.
Say la vie.
Is there anything you wanted to pimp out real quick?
I don't have anything. So, yeah, Sundays we're the podcast on 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That reminds me, I forgot to put up the audio version. My bad. I'll get that up today or tomorrow. So, yeah. But
from last weekend.
Yeah, I forgot to put it up.
I mean, I don't have anything besides this right now, and I'll have a pitch for Switch for tomorrow. I've wanted to record stuff, but then I've second guessed it because other things have happened within the time frame of me recording. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna go. Nope, I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm not gonna say nothing because I'm gonna wait for more information. So, but yeah, that's it. Thank everybody for taking the time to join in, and everybody that jumped in the chat, the people that were watching live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, because I'm going to keep calling it Twitter. Yeah, enjoyed doing this. I don't know what I'm doing next week, if I'm doing anything next week as far as live streaming, but we'll see. If I do anything, I'll let you all know. Otherwise, peace out, folks, and y'all have yourselves a blessed evening and day.